You know that feeling, right? That little voice, maybe it's a big voice, saying, you really should be doing that thing. Exercise, that big work project, learning something new.
Oh, yeah. Definitely know that feeling.
But instead, nothing.
Yeah.
You're staring at the wall, scrolling endlessly, just resisting. It's such a common human thing, this battle between what we intend to do and what we actually will do.
It really is. It's like hitting an invisible wall, isn't it? You feel stuck even when you genuinely want to move forward. And it's often the biggest hurdle to, growth and getting things done that matter to you.
Exactly. And that feeling, that resistance, sometimes it's subtle, sometimes it's huge. That's what we're digging into today. We want to move past that usual advice of just try harder.
Right. More willpower.
Yeah.
Which often doesn't quite cut it.
So we're exploring a different approach, a more maybe effective one. We're using the Lotus Method, mastering resistance with Zen principles, as our guide here.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating blend. It pulls from Zen, from Taoism, but also connects it all to modern psychology, even neuroscience. It's not about brute force.
Yeah. It promises something gentler, maybe, but
Yeah.
still powerful.
That's the idea, a more sustainable path forward.
So if you've ever felt that overwhelmed, got stuck procrastinating, or just felt drained fighting your own mind, then this deep dive is definitely for you. We're aiming to give you some real understanding, maybe a practical way to work with resistance differently.
Yeah, hopefully helping you reshape that relationship with difficult tasks and, unlock some real growth.
Okay, let's jump in.
Let's do it.
So when things get tough, the standard playbook seems to be grit your teeth, push through, right? Just use more willpower.
Absolutely. That's the message we get all the time. Success equals discipline equals forcing yourself. If you can't do it, you're just not disciplined enough.
But the source material we're looking at, and a lot of research backs this up, says willpower isn't, well, it's not an endless tank.
Exactly. It's a finite resource. There's even this concept, ego depletion, suggesting our self-control kind of runs down the more we use it. So constantly trying to muscle through everything, it just leads to exhaustion, total burnout. Or, ironically, you end up avoiding the task even more because the thought of forcing yourself again is just too draining. It creates this internal fight, loads of tension.
Which is the opposite of productive.
Completely counterproductive.
Okay, so the Lotus Method offers something different. Not fighting against yourself, but maybe working with yourself.
Yeah.
What's the core promise there?
Yeah, it's about working with our nature. Instead of that constant pushing, it focuses on 5 key ideas: awareness, flow, stillness, action, intentional action, and patience.
Awareness, flow, stillness, action, patience.
Okay. The thinking is that fighting your internal state just wastes so much energy. So if you integrate your intention with these more natural processes, progress feels less like a battle, more organic, maybe even sometimes effortless.
Effortless unfolding. I like that phrase. It feels so different from conquering challenges or dominating tasks, which is often the language we use.
It is different. It's just a kinder way, a more sustainable way through those mental blocks we all hit. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about understanding, maybe engaging differently, and transforming.
Exactly. And the central image for all this, the guiding metaphor, is the lotus flower.
Ah, the lotus.
It grows out of this dark, murky, muddy water, rises up slowly, steadily, and then blooms, clean and beautiful above the surface.
Powerful image.
And it's not just poetic. It's like a blueprint for your own journey. The mud, the struggle, the resistance, the difficulty isn't something bad to be eliminated. It's actually the fertile ground.
The stuff growth comes out of.
Precisely. Your struggles can become the very source of transformation and growth.
Okay, that's the philosophy, the big picture. But you mentioned it's practical too. It gives you steps.
Yes, absolutely. It's not just theory. There's a clear roadmap.
So let's get into those 5 steps. How do you actually do this? Where do you start?
Okay, step 1, the foundation. Awareness.
Just being aware.
Yeah, but specifically aware of the resistance itself. It's about consciously observing it when it shows up, instead of just getting swept away by it or immediately trying to fight it. Because resistance can be sneaky, can't it? It doesn't always shout.
Oh, incredibly sneaky. Our source points out all those little thoughts. I'll get to it later, or, I don't really feel ready, or the classic, tomorrow will be better.
We've all been there. Tomorrow me will definitely feel like doing it.
Right. And those are all subtle forms of resistance, quietly steering you away from action, often without you even noticing. They keep you stuck.
So awareness is about catching those thoughts.
Catching them, yes, but crucially, observing them without judgment, like becoming a neutral witness to your own mind. The method says when you bring these unconscious patterns into the light, just by noticing them, they lose some of their power.
So you're not just on autopilot anymore.
Exactly. You create a little bit of space, a pause, and in that space, you suddenly have a choice. You can choose differently instead of just reacting to the feeling of resistance.
It creates distance, you mean? Like, oh, there's that I don't feel like it thought again, rather than I am someone who doesn't feel like it.
Precisely that. It's just a thought passing through. So the practical exercise here is super simple but effective. Before you start a tough task, just pause, maybe 30 seconds.
Okay.
And just notice what thoughts are here, what feelings, label them gently. Okay, feeling discomfort or, bit of fear there, or maybe just boredom. Don't push them away, just acknowledge them.
Labeling them, interesting.
Yeah, it helps take the emotional charge out of them. You see them more clearly, and then you can proceed with a bit more intention.
Okay, so that's awareness. Step 1, what comes next?
Next up is step 2, flow. And this draws heavily on the Taoist idea of wu wei.
Wu wei. I've heard of that. It means something like effortless action.
Exactly. Effortless action, or maybe action without forcing. It challenges that idea we talked about, that success requires constant struggle and fighting against things.
Right, the push harder mentality.
Yeah. The source argues that pushing constantly creates that internal tension, leading to burnout or making you want to avoid the task altogether. Wu wei suggests a different way, aligning with your natural energy, moving with ease.
So, finding the path of least resistance. But not in a lazy way.
Not lazy at all. It's about being smart, understanding natural patterns, finding the most energy efficient way to engage. It actually links up well with modern ideas about the flow state, where you get absorbed in something and it feels almost effortless and rewarding.
Okay, so how does that look in practice? What are the strategies?
Well, instead of feeling like you have to start with the absolute hardest, most daunting part of a task.
Which is often what stops you from starting at all.
Right. Instead, you start small, something easy, accessible, just to get moving, build a little momentum.
Makes sense. What else?
It also suggests creating natural rhythms or rituals that feel good rather than rigid schedules you know you'll break and then feel bad about.
You're flexible.
And this is a big one, letting go of paralyzing perfectionism, allowing progress to be imperfect. Just keeping things moving, even if it's messy, is way better than being stuck trying to make the first step perfect.
Okay, that really resonates. The messy progress thing.
There's a great analogy they use. A river. A river doesn't blast straight through a mountain.
No, it flows around it.
Exactly. It finds the path, works with the landscape, uses gravity, it erodes obstacles over time. That's wu wei. You're using the current, not fighting it.
So, how can you, the listener, make this concrete? Is there an exercise?
Yeah, a really good one is the 2-minute commitment. If a task feels huge, just commit to doing something related to it for only 2 minutes.
Just 2 minutes, just 2.
Open the file, write 1 sentence, do 1 push-up, read 1 page. The goal isn't completion, it's just to break that initial inertia.
Get the ball rolling.
Get the ball rolling. And often what you find is once you've started, even for 2 minutes, the next steps feel much easier. That little bit of motion often carries you right into a state of flow.
Okay, awareness lets us see the resistance. Flow helps us engage without forcing. What's next? Step 3.
Step 3 is stillness. This is about creating mental clarity, quieting the internal noise so that flow can actually happen more easily.
So meditation, maybe?
Meditation is definitely one way. But the source emphasizes it doesn't have to be formal meditation retreats necessarily. It can be simply practices woven into your day.
Like what?
A few minutes of deep, focused breathing, mindful walking, or just intentionally creating pockets of quiet space away from screens and noise.
Finding calm amidst the chaos.
Exactly. There's that Zen analogy, again, the pond. When it's windy, the water's choppy, murky, you can't see clearly.
Right.
But when the wind stops, the water settles, becomes clear, reflects everything perfectly. Our minds are like that. When they're full of chatter, worry, distraction.
Everything seems harder, overwhelming.
Yes. But in stillness, clarity emerges. The path forward seems clearer, less daunting.
And it's not just a feeling, right? There's some science behind this.
Absolutely. This is fascinating. Studies show practices like meditation actually reduce activity in the brain's default mode network, the DMN.
The DMN. That's like the brain's autopilot, the part that wanders off.
That's the one. Responsible for mind wandering, dwelling on the past, worrying about the future, basically. All the ingredients for procrastination and feeling overwhelmed.
So stillness helps quiet that network down.
Precisely. A quieter DMN means your brain isn't just calmer, it's literally better primed for focus, problem solving, creativity. It makes it easier for you to engage effectively.
Wow. Okay, that's compelling. Is there a quick stillness exercise people can try?
Yes, try this before starting something challenging. Close your eyes for just 2 minutes. Focus only on your breath, slow and deep. Imagine that muddy pond we talked about, and with each exhale, see the water settling, becoming clearer and clearer.
Visualizing clarity.
Yeah, then after 2 minutes, open your eyes and bring that sense of calm and focus into whatever you need to do.
Awareness, flow, stillness. Got it. That brings us to step 4, action. Which sounds obvious, but I guess the Lotus Method frames it differently.
Very differently. This isn't about launching some massive heroic effort. That often just invites more resistance.
Right, because it feels too big.
Exactly. Action here is about deliberate present moment steps, but making them incredibly small. The core idea is to shrink the mountain.
Shrink the mountain.
Yeah, you look at a huge goal, it feels insurmountable. So you break it down into the absolute smallest possible next step. The aim is to make starting so ridiculously easy that the psychological barrier just dissolves.
Okay, give me an example. Like for you, the listener.
So instead of write my book, the action is write 1 paragraph, not get fit, but do 1 workout. Maybe even just put on my workout clothes.
Ah, okay. Sometimes that's the hardest part.
It often is. Or not learn Spanish, but study 1 vocabulary list, or listen to 1 minute of a podcast. Atomize it.
Make it almost too easy.
That's the sweet spot. When the action is that small, resistance barely gets a foothold, and each tiny step you complete gives you a little win, a bit of momentum.
And those tiny steps add up.
They compound. Consistently taking these micro actions builds momentum over time, leading to significant progress without the overwhelm.
So the practical tip is literally write down the big task, then immediately figure out the tiniest possible next action.
Yes. Aim for too easy. The goal isn't to test your willpower, it's to bypass it, build consistency, and let momentum do the heavy lifting. Consistency is king.
Okay, makes total sense. Awareness, flow, stillness, tiny action. What's the final piece? Step 5.
The final step, absolutely crucial for making all this stick long term, is step 5. Patience.
Patience, the virtue we all struggle with.
Don't we just... And here, again, the lotus metaphor is so powerful that flower doesn't pop up overnight.
No, it takes its time, growing through the mud.
Exactly. Slowly, steadily, through the dark, murky water, often for ages, before it even breaks the surface, let alone blooms. Real growth, real achievement for you, it unfolds over time. It's rarely instant.
Even though our culture screams for instant results.
Right. And that impatience creates so much pressure when we don't see results immediately or progress isn't perfectly linear.
We get discouraged. We want to quit.
Totally. Patience in this method is about cultivating trust. Trusting that progress is happening even when you can't see it yet, even when it feels slow. It helps you stay the course without freaking out.
So how do you cultivate that trust? Especially when you feel impatient.
One key practical tip is to shift your focus. Track your process, not just the outcome.
Process over outcome, meaning
Instead of obsessing only over the finished product, the book deal, the marathon finish time, the target weight, celebrate your consistency. Track the days you showed up, the pages you wrote, the workouts you did, the study sessions you completed.
focus on what you can control the effort.
Exactly. Celebrating that consistent effort builds motivation and naturally leads to the outcomes over time, often more reliably than just staring at the distant finish line.
There's a Zen flavor to that too, isn't there? Patience isn't just passively waiting.
No, it's more like an active trust, trusting the process itself. The lotus doesn't worry about when it will bloom, it just keeps growing. Patience is embracing the journey, knowing each small step contributes.
Okay, those are the 5 steps. Awareness, flow, stillness, action, patience. Now, how does this apply, in the real world, for someone listening, facing their specific challenges?
Well, the great thing is, it's incredibly versatile. It's not just for one type of task. You can apply this framework almost anywhere.
Health, work, learning, creativity.
All of the above. Think about studying, for example. Instead of just cramming.
Which we know isn't that effective.
Right. You'd use awareness to notice when you get distracted or what times of day you learn best. You'd find flow by breaking study into smaller chunks. Use stillness, maybe some deep breaths, before tackling a complex topic to clear your head. Take micro actions like reviewing just one concept or doing a few practice problems consistently. And apply patience, trusting that learning takes time.
Okay, that makes sense for studying. What about, say, health and fitness? That's a big area of resistance for many.
Huge. So instead of some massive, intimidating goal, you start with tiny actions, a 5-minute walk, drinking 1 extra glass of water. Find flow by choosing activities you actually enjoy rather than forcing yourself through workouts you hate.
Makes exercise less of a chore.
Exactly. Use stillness to notice and counter that negative self-talk about your body or abilities. And embrace patience, celebrating the consistency of your efforts and trusting the gradual transformation, because sustainable health changes do take time.
Yeah, the overnight transformation is usually a myth.
Totally a myth.
What about creative work? Writers, artists, dealing with blocks, procrastination, waiting for inspiration.
Oh, absolutely. The Lotus Method is brilliant here. It reframes creativity away from waiting for some magical muse to strike
And
towards patient flowing practice. You're aware of your inner critic, that voice saying, this isn't good enough. You find flow by setting up regular, small, creative sessions, just showing up. Cultivate stillness to quiet the mental noise and maybe access deeper ideas. Take consistent microactions, write 100 words, sketch for 10 minutes, brainstorm one idea, and crucially, approach it all with patience, trusting that inspiration often emerges from the discipline, not before it.
Inspiration follows action, not the other way around.
Often, yes. And finally, just personal growth, generally learning a skill, meditating regularly, even emotional healing. These steps provide a way to keep moving forward with less struggle, more calm, turning those challenges into, well, opportunities to bloom.
Okay, so wrapping this up, this deep dive into the Lotus Method really offers a fundamental shift, doesn't it?
It really does. It changes how we relate to difficulty itself.
Instead of fighting resistance, we learn to notice it, acknowledge it, awareness.
Instead of forcing ourselves, we learn to find ease and alignment, flow.
Instead of getting lost in mental noise, we cultivate clarity, stillness.
Instead of being paralyzed by huge goals, we take tiny, consistent steps. Action.
And instead of giving up when things take time, we trust the process. Patience.
It really is more than just a productivity system. It feels more like a philosophy for navigating life with, I don't know, more calm, more purpose.
Yeah, a way to handle the inevitable mud without getting stuck in it, turning obstacles into growth like the lotus.
Beautifully put. Transforming obstacles into blossoms. That's the potential.
So for you listening, maybe a final thought to take away. Thinking about where you feel stuck right now. Which of these 5 steps, awareness, flow, stillness, action, or patience, feels like it speaks most directly to that challenge?
Yeah, just considering that and maybe asking, how could one small shift, focusing on just one of those steps today, start to change things? How could it help turn that particular obstacle into a blossom?
Something to reflect on. Thanks for exploring that with us.
My pleasure. It's powerful stuff.
Like, comment, and subscribe.